Hey everybody. Earlier today I happened to see a thread on bike forums, and it had to do with a GMC Denali road bike. And for those who don't know, if you go to the bike forums website, a lot of the members there, have a lot of money, have a lot of nice bikes, and they tend to snob down on these cheap rim bikes such as the Denali. And usually if anybody comes to the bike forum site and asks, should I get this bike or should I get something else? They're like, no, don't ever get the Denali. It's a piece of crap. It's a piece of junk. The Denali sucks, all this kind of stuff. Well, a user by the name SigTech decided to, debunk some of the myths about the Denali. He decided to purchase a Denali road bike while he was in the process of getting his Peugeot, I guess that's how you call it, repaired. And he used the Denali as a commuter for the time being. And what he decided to do was give the Denali a nice test as a commuter. He bought it at Walmart, and I guess somewhere in Florida, and he used the bike regularly to commute to and from work and other places. He put like 2,000 miles on the bike within 90 days. Pretty much within the 90-day return policy of Walmart. Now this was back in like 2006 or so. And he had one of these bikes, the 2006 model. And basically what he did was, like I mentioned, give the Denali a nice test with all stock components. He did regular maintenance to the bike, lubing things up and everything, and the bike performed incredible. He didn't have to replace any major parts or nothing like that for that whole 2,000 miles. So basically, he proved that you spend $150 on the Denali, you get your money's worth out of it. So basically, I figured in this video I want to just give a kind of a bicycle biography of myself. I started riding bicycles while I was 9 years old. Yes, I got a late start to bicycling. And back in those days, I was either riding BMX bikes or mountain bikes. And during my teenage years, I started to get interested in road bikes. I remember back in 2005, it was the first year I think the first year the Denali had came out and was sold in Walmart. I happened to see one down in Greenville, South Carolina, and I was thinking to myself, I'd like to have one of these. I had no idea how much it cost. I figured it would cost a lot of money, so I didn't even look into it that much. But later on in 2005, I decided I'd start to get into road cycling. So I happened to find an old 10-speed bicycle at a thrift store for like $15 or $16, something like that. It was like a late 70s, maybe early 80s 10-speed, and it was, very old. It was so old it had a Gaston County bicycle license sticker on the frame. It was a heavy steel bike. It was in not the best of condition. Apparently had a lot of miles on it. Had to replace many things on it. Left me on the road many times. Broke down, and rode very rough. And let's see, it was in late 2006, the local Walmart in Charlotte, North Carolina, started to stock these Denali road bikes. And I was, kind of interested in the time of getting one. I was about 15 years old at the time. And it's funny, my mom agreed that she would buy me one if I had good grades on my report card. And at the time, the Denali retailed for like $149, I think, at that Walmart. And they used to have many of them in stock too. So I ended up getting one of these in November 2006. And of course, the Denali, when you compare it to like, $1,400 road bikes, yeah, there's a huge difference in quality and workmanship. But to be honest, for the price range that the Denali is in, it's a great bike for what it is. Just think, I was riding a, probably like a 20-30-year-old 10-speed with, rims that were way out of true. And it was just, overall very rough riding bike. Going from that to this was a huge upgrade. So you have to consider that even for those who don't have a whole lot of money and want something to just get started with or anything like that, the Denali is great for that. Now, of course, as you can see, I have two Denali road bikes. I'll come back to that here in just a moment. I figured I'd give my 2 cents on my experience with the Denali road bikes, with both of them. As I mentioned, I got this one in November 2006, and I didn't ride this one very often at the time. I started to really ride it a lot. Let's see, back in like mid to late 2007. I started keeping track of mileage at about that time, and I ended up getting about 4,000 miles on this thing before the rear hub messed up. Now I had to replace the bottom bracket, the brake shoes, tires, inner tubes, and the tube protectors. That's pretty much it. That's all I had to replace on this thing. And I mean, for the most of this bike's lifespan, from, you know, its service life before I got that one, from 2006 to 2011, it was mainly stock. And I'll go and add some pictures for you to see for yourself. For most of the time period, I ran Michelin Dynamic 28C tires, the tires that are on it right now. For example, these tires here, which are pretty old, I need to replace them. I ran 28C tires for most of the bike's lifespan, and other than that, the bike was pretty much stock. And I have to say, for what it was, it rode very nice. Oh yeah, I did replace the seat. That was one thing I did. That's actually the stock seat you see on it right now. But yeah. So basically, and the funny thing is, it was sometime in February 2011. I was up in Cornelius, North Carolina, and the rear hub seized. And to be honest, that was due to a lack of maintenance. I didn't maintain this bike very well. I mean, I did keep the chain lubed. I did replace the chain back in, I believe, 2009 or 2010. I don't know for sure. One of those years. I did lube. I did actually take apart and re-lube the front hub. I never did take apart and re-lube the rear hub. Kind of lazy at the time. Didn't really care to do it. And, I mean, even considering that, this thing lasted a little over 4,000 miles before the rear hub seized up. As you can see, it sustained quite a bit of damage, and more or less it brought the bike to a stop. Didn't bring it to a skidding halt, but it did slow me down to a stop without ever hitting the brakes. And see, the funny thing was, I was kind of thinking about having two bikes at the time. So basically, instead of going on Amazon and ordering a new wheel set, I just went to Walmart and got a second bike, the one you see there. Now this one here is not stock. I rode this one in stock condition for about a year. Put 2,000 miles on it. Yeah, a little over 2,000 miles in stock condition, with the exception of the tires, which currently are Surface Seca tires. And I mean, even during that lifespan, the bike performed, you know, decent for what it was. As a matter of fact, when I brought this bike home, I think I did 10 miles on the stock tires, which were 32C. Now I replaced those with the Michelins off of that bike, and put, I want to say, maybe 1,000 miles on them, something like that, and then put those surface tires on it. And as you can see, I have replaced the wheel set on this bike. I installed the Aeromax wheel set off of Amazon for like $100. I took the wheels off of this one, stuck on that bike. This bike currently has 4,222 miles on it. Now, of course, I have upgraded this one quite a bit. And that comes to the second part about the thing I like about the Denalis. Yes, they're really cheap to start out with. The good thing is, I mean, despite the fact that the components aren't that good, these bikes have really nice frames. These are 7005 aluminum. Now I know that one is. I'm not sure about this one. I believe it's 7005. Maybe it's 6061. They didn't specify on this one. But the thing about these frames is They're strong, lightweight, durable, and can easily be upgraded with better parts. On this bike, I've replaced the bottom bracket, which was required because the first one failed about 2,000 miles. I have upgraded the derailleur, upgraded the stock handlebars to these alloy bars, and then later, at the same time I did the bars, I installed some Shimano A050 shifters, which are currently on this bike. Those shifters there, and then like a few months later, installed these Shimano RSX STI levers and that derailleur at the same time. And I have to be honest, with these STIs, you know, the new bars, new bar wrap, the nice wheel set, this bike still weighs in about 27 to 28 pounds, but it is very fun to ride. Now, while I'm on the subject of weight, I've noticed something funny here. It seems like the older Denalis from like 2006 to 2007, and in terms of stock weight, weigh less than the newer ones. And I can show you one reason off the bat why that is. I've noticed that the older Denalis, like this 06, have alloy cranks. And as you can see, they have not rusted. Now, I can't be 100% certain about this because, I mean, as you can see, it says Pro Wheel Forge number 5 170. That's what it says on the crank. But if you notice, the stock pedals have got some rust on them in the metal cage. If you notice, no rust at all on this crank. Same goes for the other side. No rust. Now, obviously, the alloy is lighter than steel. I mean, those stock bars are heavy compared to the alloy bars on that bike. Now, take a look at the 2010 model. Yes, guys, that's rust. These are steel, while those are alloy. Yes, the newer Denalis are still nice. They cost us a little bit more, but I don't like the fact that they went to steel cranks versus the older ones, which are alloy. Now, the crank set on the newer Denalis has a little bit better gearing, but for 2013 they went from 28 to 12 to 28 to 14 on the rear freewheel, which I don't like. Now, this here is a cassette, but you know, it is what you get. You know, it's a sub $200 road bike. And for somebody who doesn't have a lot of money and just wants to get started with biking and does not want to, you know, or cannot find used deals on Craigslist or eBay, the Denali is definitely a nice option. And as you can see, I'm highly experienced with these bikes. I've owned them for years, especially that one there. I've had that one since 06. That one there I've had since, 2010. Now, this one here I'm in the process of doing some upgrading to. I took those Revo shifts off because they were getting old. The see-through part where you can see the number was faded through, like let's say the headlights on that Toyota are. You couldn't see the numbers. So I decided I'm going to replace those with these A050s. And it's real funny. I had to make use of fire to get those shifters off. Yes, I had to set on fire and melt them off. But I got them off without separating this bar in half. And I took some inner tube as, a spacer. And as you can see, these shifters on there are very firm. These clamps are a little bit bigger than the stock bar size. And I'm seriously considering maybe replacing these bars. It just depends on my budget. Though I think I'm just going to go ahead and buy some bar wrap and finish up this upgrade for what it is. Because I'm going to have to buy some new tires for this one. I'm going to get this bike fixed so that way if somebody wants to ride with me, they'll have a bike to ride, pretty much. Now, yes, it was kind of, I kind of went off topic in a way in certain parts of the video, but anyways. Just want to give you my 2 cents on the Denali. you know, how decent it is for the price. And like I mentioned before, when you compare this to like a $2,000 road bike, yeah, it's obvious the Denali is a piece of crap. But remember, the Denali is a sub $200 bike, and as it's been proven by myself and, you know, SigTech on bike forums, this bike is worth the money. So anyways, thanks for watching, everybody.